Hello there, and welcome to another Tips Team After School special. My name is Will Rice, and I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite online resources that are accessible to most, if not all, of the learners in your room. These are not Google tools per se, but they're more resource websites that you can access online and will help you plan for student learning in your classroom. So the first one here is Google itself. So one of the things I was when I was in the classroom is I was always looking for materials for students. So if students were doing a research project on, let's say, airplanes, right? So they might find things like this, but there are some other search choices that students can use, and so can you. So if we go here under search results or under search tools, we can actually change and sort this results by reading level. So this is going to let us select whether we want basic, intermediate, or advanced. And simply by clicking basic, we're going to limit the vocabulary level of the articles that we find. Now, you're going to find that, again, just like anything on Google, there's going to be a number of things here that are not as reputable just because they're, images of airplanes, movies called Airplane. However, if you get down in here and you can see that there's Wikipedia articles, there's an article by NASA, all of these will have reading levels that are more accessible to your students. Another option is to search by country. By searching by Canada, you're actually going to find that a lot more information is going to come up in here. Depending on your safe search filters, I don't have any on right now, you'll see different things. But as you can see, these materials here, even as we come down here, we're going to see a lot about model airplanes and things like that. So consider limiting your search by basic and country code Canada to find the most relevant, accessible information on airplanes that you can. This is a trick that I've used a number of times for students, and this simple act will help them find what they're looking for a little bit more quickly. Another one is Wikipedia itself. The basic Wikipedia, which looks to be something like this, is a pretty daunting resource for most of our students, especially those in elementary and junior high. And if we were to do a search here, for example, something on, bridges, if we're doing a research in science on bridges, this article is going to be pretty long. It's going to have a lot of really large words. It's going to be very difficult to read. However, on the left-hand side here, you'll see a set of languages. And if we scroll all the way down to the S's, we will find Simple English. What Simple English is Wikipedia articles that have been rewritten at an upper elementary level of reading. What this means for your students is they're going to be able to very easily go ahead and find the information they need. This article is much simplified. It uses a simpler language. It reduces the word count. You can even see here that it really simplifies the contents. So if students are looking for types of bridges, they get a really simplified version of links that they can follow. And if they do follow these links, it's going to take them to that article in Simple Wikipedia. So a very nice, simple article to read with a picture. So this is another great resource I suggest that you take a look at. All of these resources have been out there for a while, but what they do allow you for is to give your students a little bit more autonomy in the content they choose to research, and in the in not needing your support as much. They're also great teacher resources for helping you create materials for the classroom, or even just considering finding reading materials for your students. The last one that I wanted to share is Newsela. Now, Newsela is an American website. It's a service that takes newspaper articles from general publication and rewrites them at a variety of levels. And as we can see here, one of the things it also supports is signing in with your Google account, so you don't have to remember another password. The first time you do this, it's going to ask you to sign up as a student, a teacher, or a parent. I signed up as a parent. It gives you the same features as a teacher without having to, assign yourself to a school and getting your school verified. So if you just want to take a look, you can go ahead and just sign up as a parent. And what this means is that you'll see here there's categories, just like a newspaper, but I can also come here to the search button and open this and actually search by standard text that supports one of these different things I need to teach, or by grade level. So I'm just going to pick grade 2. What this is going to do is give me articles that have a revision that are written at the grade 2 level. So if you're looking for some current events or a newspaper style writing to share with your students, you might find something like, for example, this science article on dinosaurs. What's great about Newsela is if you look here on the right-hand side, you'll see that this article is written at a grade 2 level, 280 words, very simple to read. There's a few big words. Students are going to be able to get some support there. But if we look up the side here, we can actually flip between the grade 2 level of this article, the grade 4 level of this article, the grade 5 level of this article, and all the way up to grade 7 or the max, which is probably even higher, grade 12. So basically, regardless of the readers in your classroom, all the way from 2 to 7, for example, are going to have access to an article written for them. Now, the cool part about Newsela is that this is adapted by Newsela staff. So what happens is they take the original article and, taking into consideration the main idea, the key facts, they've rewritten this for a grade 2 student by a person doing it. This isn't an algorithm, this isn't a machine. This is actually a person sitting down and writing this article for a grade 2 student based on the original one. So you can assign similar tasks, you can ask the same questions about the article, and the students are getting basically the same information written for them. This is a great opportunity to access current events, newspaper-style articles for free. It gives you that leveled text that we know students need. If you go further down this road, you can also have students sign up for a class, and you can actually assign readings to them. And some of them, actually, for example, this one, have actually created quizzes to go with each of these reading levels. So if you want to pick one like that, students can get a little bit of feedback on their reading comprehension built right in. It doesn't collate these marks and give you answers, but what you do want to do is it is just another way for your students to do some independent reading, check for understanding, and then go ahead and use that information somewhere else. So Newsela is another great one. What I really like about Newsela is with the Read and Write for Google app installed or extension installed, you'll see I can actually open up Read and Write and use Read and Write for any of the words. So even if there is a large word in here, like armor, I can still go ahead and use Google's dictionary to listen to and read that dictionary definition, or even go ahead and grab that word and see if there's a picture dictionary for me. So what's happening here, and for this word there isn't, unfortunately, what you're going to find is that it's these resources that have accessible text layer really nicely with the extensions like Read and Write for Google that allow our students to have additional access to those materials. So by layering the accessibility extensions like Read and Write with accessible text like that from Newsela, simple English Wikipedia, or limiting a Google search by reading level, you're giving your students the absolute best opportunity to access material at their level in a way that they can get to independently. So if there's one thing I could encourage you to do, that would actually be to consider taking these tools and layering them on top. So once the students have learned the tool of Read and Write or the Newsela website or simple Wikipedia, for example, try layering the two together and give your students the best chance they have to understand the things that they are reading online. By giving them those trusted websites as well, you're also going to be able to ensure that they really do they really do have some trusted resources that they can use, and you can assign those through School Zone or Google Classroom. However you want to pass out those links to students and parents, you can go ahead and do that. The one last thing that I do want to show, just because I've had a few questions, is when it comes to students, our ELL students, what we can do actually is there's one new resource at Learn Alberta that they've recently acquired that I really want you to take a look at. Okay, so if we go to the online reference, I'll just make sure you guys can see this perfect. If you go to the online reference center and you scroll down, these have been here a while, and these are the paid resources that Learn Alberta has done for you. Now you do have to make sure the students are signed in. I'm just going to sign in with our district username here. Students who log in through School Zone won't require that information. It'll automatically log them in, but as you can see, it's LA13 and 9418. If we hit the online reference center and we scroll down, there is a new one here called Muzzy Online. And what this is actually, it doesn't replace working with students to learn English as a first language, but what it does is it's really going to support them in having some independent practice around less language learning for ELL learners. There are lessons, there are movies, and there are vocabulary building activities that the province has decided to purchase for us. So for example, if we go in here, these are many of the simple things we are working with students on to help them learn how to communicate in English when they're new to our country. So it might be a resource that supports some students. It's obviously not going to replace one-to-one learning or engaging students in conversation. But what it is going to do is give them a place that they can get some independent practice, and even a place that they can take home and work on these activities at home because they have access to Learn Alberta through School Zone at home. So this is another great accessibility website and resource for our young ELL learners that will help them out in the long run. So with that, those are sort of my big three, and now a bonus of number 4 with Muzzy, resources that allow accessible content for students across our district. So go ahead and give them a try. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me, Will Rice, or any of the other TIPS team members. If you have a resource you'd like us to share in another after school special, please feel free to pass it along and we'll make sure we work it in. Thanks so much.